The most popular profession in India has been doctor and engineer. Every parent wanted their son or daughter to be a doctor or to be an engineer. I will tell you about the doctor in the commerce world. You must be thinking, are you mad? What are you telling? How can you be a doctor in the commerce world? Yes, this is about the company secretary profession. There is very little information about the company secretary profession. It has been in the shadow of the profession of chartered accountants. We will see everything about this in this particular video. First things first, why is a company secretary compared to a doctor? A simple question to you. What does a doctor do? In general, what does a doctor do? A doctor takes care of the health of his or her patient. A doctor takes care of the health of the entire country. And we saw that in the COVID-19 where the whole country and the whole world were dependent on doctors. That shows how important the profession of doctors are. Same way, the profession of company secretaries is similar to that of doctors. A company secretary is a person who is expert in corporate laws, corporate law compliance, and most importantly, governance. And for a company to go forward and to make sure there are no scams, we need a person who takes care of all this, and that person is a company secretary. The company secretary takes care of the health of the company, the health of the corporate world, and eventually the health of the entire economy. That is why a company secretary is compared to a doctor. So the first thing about the company secretary course is you should know a little bit of history. The company secretary's profession is just about 50 years old. The government of India thought about chartered accountant as a profession way back in 1949, and that is why the Chartered Accountants Act came and everyone needed an accountant, a chartered accountant. Then later, because of the transactions, the economy, the companies, they realized that there was one niche of work which was not being done by chartered accountants or lawyers. And that was the secretarial work, the corporate law work, corporate compliance work, and corporate secretarial compliance work. That is when there was a need to form a separate profession. So we can say that the company secretary profession has been carved out of what a lawyer does or some of the things which a chartered accountant does. So the culmination of all these things has brought about a new profession called as company secretary profession. It was in 1968 that the government had a diploma course for the company secretaries. And way back in 1968, very few people used to take this exam. It was mostly people who are working with the government or some of the other officials. The only parallel before 1968 was that you could do a company secretary course or a chartered secretary course from London. So in London we had the ICSA, and through that body and institution you could have done it. And let's remember, this is 1968. The economy was very small. We were just 20 years into independence. So there was not really much of scope or not really too many opportunities for this profession. Slowly as time progressed, the government realized that we need three bodies, that is the chartered accountants, that is CA Institute, then the company secretaries, that is the CS Institute, and the third one is cost accountants, which is the ICMAI, or now it is called Institute of Cost Accountants of India. All these three sister professions, as they're called, have their own niche and each one is expert in their own field. Going forward in our history class, in 1980, we had a great news. The Institute of Company Secretaries of India got a statutory recognition. That means there was an act which was enacted under the parliament which gave rise to the Company Secretaries Act of 1980. This way, ICSA became a statutory body. Before this, it was not a statutory body. It was just a not-for-profit company, a charitable company, what we used to call Section 25 company, present day Section 8 company. So the Company Secretaries Act gave a huge fillip in the arm, a huge springboard for the growth of our profession. From 1980, there have been multiple milestones where the company secretary profession has grown. It could be in 1988 where we got the profession of company secretaries in practice. That is, company secretaries who could give services to different companies. Similar to a doctor who has a clinic and gives services to different patients. A doctor can work in a hospital or doctor can have his or her own clinic. Same way company secretaries could also do it from 1988. So as you can see, this is a very young profession. If you compare it to, let's say, doctors or lawyers, These professions have been for thousands of years. Since company secretary profession is fairly new, the awareness is slowly growing, and it is our endeavor to give you the best information. There have been 3 watershed moments in the growth of the company secretary profession. The first one is the year 1991. We all know that the Indian economy opened up, and most importantly, foreign companies were allowed to set up in India, and the economy started to grow. When the economy started to grow, there were more companies. When there are more companies, you need people to take care of the compliance of the companies, conduct board meetings and general meetings of the company, making sure that compliance is relating to foreign direct investment is done. All this made sure that we need more company secretaries. The second watershed moment was the year 2000-2001. This is what we call as the software boom. India saw a huge influx of foreign money. Lot of homegrown companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, they got a huge global share of software services, and that gave rise to many other smaller companies in India and foreign investment, which again helped the economy to grow. And you need somebody to take care of all the corporate law work, and that person is the company secretary. And the third watershed moment was 2011. That is when the startup boom started. From 2011 to 2022, there has been a sea change in startups, in foreign direct investment. In fact, very recently, India received $83.6 billion in FDI, which has been the highest. So 1991, 2001 and 2011, these 3 watershed moments gave a huge rise for opportunities for company secretaries, that is, the doctors of the corporate world. Now let us quickly understand who is a company secretary and what does she do or what does he do. In simple, company secretary is a person who is an expert in corporate laws. Corporate laws could be the Companies Act, it could be IBC, it could be GST, it could be Real Estate Regulation Act, and not to forget SEBI related laws, all the stock exchange related laws, and also economic laws. We always forget economic laws, Competition Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act, and also Contract Act. These are the basic things which is required for every corporate, and an expert in this is a company secretary. Then you may ask, then who is a lawyer? Please understand that when you study law or a lawyer, the basic degree is what we call general law. You study everything. I am a lawyer and a company secretary, so I can talk from both perspectives. In general law, you study civil law, criminal law, corporate law, land laws, labor laws. We study everything. And it's only later while you're working, or if you want to study further, you start to specialize and you choose a field and go ahead in that. And also for lawyers, we have corporate lawyers also, and we have lawyers who represent at different forums like the courts and tribunals. For a company secretary, the angle is more about corporate law, and that gives a different perspective for company secretary, whether it is structuring transactions, whether it is doing compliance, whether it is advising on different registrations and licenses and setting up of businesses. All this is the forte and expert knowledge of company secretary. Company secretaries only have a basic understanding of criminal laws because that is not part of the syllabus, or the whole idea and the vision of ICSI has not been that company secretaries should be criminal lawyers. Company secretaries should know criminal law to understand the criminal provisions in corporate law, but they are not experts in criminal law or civil law for that matter. So if you are asking, so what does a company secretary do? How does his or her day look like? Like every day, what do they do? See, broadly, there are 2 options which you should know. One is what we call corporate CS or CCS, a company secretary who works in a company. So you can work at Reliance, you can work at Wipro, you can work at Marico, any company. Or a company secretary who is having his or her own practice, like a doctor having his or her own clinic. And that is where you give services to different companies, different clients. Both these options are equally good. It's about what you're good at, and most people start with working in a company because you have a safety and security of a very good salary, and also you'll be able to get very good exposure at an early stage. As you gain experience, you can also set up your own private practice and give services to hundreds of companies, no matter how many. To know exactly what a company secretary does, let us go to section 205 of the Companies Act of 2013. There is one section in the Companies Act which talks about functions of a company secretary. This section 205 is that a company secretary should report the compliance of the Companies Act and the company's rules, and other provisions to the board of directors. Second important thing, company secretaries should ensure that secretarial standards are followed. Secretarial standards are standards or methods of maintaining records similar to what we have accounting standards. That is also something the ICSIs come out with, and this is the first time in the world. Apart from this, company secretaries will have other duties. It could be something as simple as conducting a board meeting, or it could be conducting an annual general meeting, filing different forms with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, or dealing with the shareholders, dealing with the government, dealing with the court or National Company Law Tribunal, which is the court for corporate law matters. In another way to look what a company secretary does, a company secretary is like a bridge. A company secretary is a bridge between the company and the shareholders, the company and the government, the company and the stakeholders, the company and the employees within the company, and obviously company and the economic and corporate laws which the company has to comply with. So company secretary is a key managerial personnel. He or she is with the board of directors at the topmost decision making body in every company. The best part is once you're a company secretary, you can be on par with the board of directors because you're a key managerial personnel. Even if you do MBA, you don't get this opportunity. There is so much more I can tell about company secretary, but in simple words, the demand is very high, supply is very less. This is the time you should think about doing company secretary course. Please do share this with anyone who is doing class 11 or 12. It's a huge future and great opportunities ahead. Now you may ask, so how do we do this course? What are the levels? Broadly, there are 3 levels in the company secretary course. First is called as the entrance test, CSEET. You can take this after class 12. You can prepare for this after class 10. The CSEET has basic subjects like English, economics, logical reasoning, and an introduction to law and also business environment. CSEET is to get a brief idea about the basic knowledge of a student, and it's a great way to start this course. The second step is once you finish CSEET, you can get into CS Executive Program. This is the most crucial part. It has 8 subjects and all the subjects are core law subjects. Company law, jurisprudence, general laws, setting up of businesses. Then you have economic laws, SEBI laws, accountancy, taxation, financial management. All these subjects gives you a great foundation to understand the entire world and entire universe of corporate laws which corporates have to follow in India. Once you finish executive, you move to the professional program which has 9 subjects, and once you clear all these 9 subjects, they are also broadly corporate law subjects. You will be entering the profession where you are going to start with 21 months of practical training. So this course involves the exams and the theoretical knowledge and practical application by way of working under a company secretary for 21 months. And when you work under the company secretary, you have given a stipend, so it is not like you're working for free. So you are working and also getting the complete knowledge. This way you're ready and prepared to face the corporate world. So once you finish the course, where should you work? Sir, where can I work? This is one very common questions which I get. See, when you talk about company secretary, right from a small private limited company to India's biggest company like Reliance or Wipro, you can work anywhere. Every company needs a company secretary. Every company needs the services. There are more than 15 lakh companies in India, less than 35,000 active company secretaries. Just see the demand and the supply. And the demand and supply is actually getting wider. It should actually get narrow. So it is now that all of you take this course and study it and make sure that you enter, you can give services to all these companies. And one good thing is now even international opportunities are opening up. We have many company secretaries who are working in Middle East, all the countries like UAE or Bahrain or Qatar. These options are opening up. Also, some of them are in Commonwealth countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK. It is possible if you are ready to take up the work. And if you're somebody who is new to company secretary, you may be asking, what about placements? Where will I get placements? See, because the demand is high and supply is less, you should really not be bothered about placements. In fact, you will have a choice on where you want to work. You can be choosy. It is the freshers market. It is not the recruiters market right now. But anyway, if you still want to know for job placements, you are going to have a network once you do the course. LinkedIn is a great place to get jobs, and make sure that you are visible wherever you go and you will get the opportunities the opportunities are very huge. Now, if you are interested about company secretary course, you want to know more, what you can do is you can do a free sign up on our website, which is excelacademy.com. You can see it on the screen. Just go there, do a free sign up, and there are some free courses which we have. You can get an idea about the company secretary course, what kind of subjects are there, and what is expected out of you. You can also download our app. The links are in the description. It is a free Android app, so you can download it and you can get a complete picture of the company secretary course. You can also WhatsApp us if you want anything. At Ekcel Academy, we help train students to become company secretaries. Whether it is our coaching program, whether it is our CS practical training, and most importantly, we give personalized mentorship and handholding. All our students are very happy with us, and they're all company secretaries in different companies. Way back in 2011 when we started, we were not sure how far ahead we'll go. But today, after seeing hundreds of our students working in companies, it gives immense pleasure that we are energized to get more company secretaries into the world, and that is what is our endeavor. For any information relating to company secretary, we have lot of awareness videos, and our awareness videos are not just in English. We have it in Hindi, in Tamil, Kannada, Telugu. So make sure that you follow all these channels. All the links are there in the description, and you too can be a company secretary. And if you still have questions, let me know in the comments. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. It helps more people to watch this video, and I'm there to answer all your questions. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you and all the best to you. I hope to see you become a company secretary.